simplicity and optimizing for simplicity when it comes to what you derive your sense of meaning and happiness from in life. If you start there and then win and fucking capture the entire world and I'm the god of whatever the fuck industry I care about, that's a fantastic bonus on top. I don't think that this is the same as setting your sights low and being pessimistic. I think it's reminding yourself about where you can genuinely derive happiness from. Because although I take an absolutely huge amount of happiness from the success of the show and the impact of the show and all of the people that I speak to, the money is a derivative of that. And yes, sure, it's kind of like being given a trophy. You don't do it for the trophy, you do it for the success. The trophy is a derivative of the success. But it's just a reminder that continuing to believe I'm not happy yet, and all that I need is the next piece of success in order to be able to justify my happiness, is a treadmill that for a lot of people never, ever ends. And I do think that it's important for them to be reminded of it.
Well, absolutely. That I'll be happy when situation, it may even be true. You may be happier when better things happen in the future. Totally. And you probably will be. But does that prevent you from being happy right now, at least to the extent that you're capable? And I think a lot of people make another mistake cognitively, and they say things like, if I allow myself to be happy now, I'll lose that drive. And to me, I think the best way to architect your drives, if you have any say in the matter, sometimes we're just automatons that are doing our thing, is I don't like the idea of a drive for success that runs away from not success, that runs away from poverty, that's never again kind of thing. I much prefer a drive that is two-factor, when it runs towards more success. And two, it takes a lot of happiness from the run itself. Like for me, total amount of net worth is a really cool idea. Like if I have a certain amount of money, that's awesome to think about. But income streams are fascinating. And the growth of income streams is fascinating. I make more money this month and more money that, oh man, that's awesome. And even more fascinating is the productive effort that brings those income streams, that instantiates them. So I think a lot of people, like you totally rightfully indicate, save their happiness sort of intellectually for, well, later I'll let myself be happy because I don't want to lose any steam.
Yep.
You can generate your steam from the positive sum game of doing your best.
Well,
that's where your steam should come from.
Think about it this way. And Alex taught me this when we were on the episode, that the three most common traits of high performing people, super rich high performers, was a superiority complex, crippling insecurity, and maniacal focus, right?
So I got the first two are interesting together.
Yeah, precisely, right? So you have the belief that you can do great things and that you're better than everybody else. You have a fear of insufficiency that drives you to run away from something that you don't want to become, and you're able to constrain your distractions so that you run in a singular direction without wobbling all over the place. One of the things that made me realize is that most of the people that we admire the most have the least admirable internal states. So what does it mean that the people who command the most respect in terms of status are the ones that you want to be the most externally and be the least internally? So this sort of duality is very difficult to deal with. And the point that you're bringing up here, which is, look, you are almost in some regard momentum. You're built up. You've got this degree of inertia to how much personal development and skill set and drive it is that you have. I believe truly that for most people, especially the people that are listening to this, you are already on the train tracks to becoming something fucking fantastic. You're listening to content that a rarefied strata of the entire human history has ever been able to listen to. Like literally the greatest thinkers of your time get to go into your ears as frequently as you want.
Nominal cost.
Yeah.
No cost.
Yeah. It essentially, for essentially free. 24 hours a day, and then you get to take that and you get to change your life. Do you understand how fucking insane that is, that you get to be able to do that? Worrying and vacillating about the outcome, I believe, gives you probably an extra 5 or 10%. That all of the concern, all of the fear and the neuroses and the sleepless nights probably derives an extra 5 or 10% of outcomes, because it will cause you to be a bit more obsessive, which will be useful. However, the other way to look at that is, I could get 90% of the outcomes and discard all of the worry and concern. And it changes it from you believing that you're some sort of driver in a car that needs to frantically look for what direction to like, this is ease. I'm a competent individual. I am in control. And as opposed to being the driver in a car, desperately looking around for the sat nav to see which way I need to turn, you're more like a passenger on a train. And you get to observe the scenery as it goes past. The waitress comes by, you order some English tea, you have a couple of scones with jam and cream, and you go, this is a really enjoyable process. And the destination is going to be arrived at in any case. And I truly believe that for a lot of people, that's the way it's going to work.
I have something to add to that, if you don't mind. I think that the neurosis, the sleepless nights, and the worrying is a net detractor from productivity and wealth creation. Obviously, it's a detractor from proximate happiness. I think it's actually a detractor from making you more money in the future and making you more successful and becoming the person that maybe you could be in your best case scenario. I just think that any amount of cognitive bandwidth you spend worrying, you could be instead spending on solving the logical problems which the worry is sort of maybe pushing you towards solving. But honestly, it doesn't push you towards shit. So for example, let's say you work in a certain space, you work in a certain business. Let's say it's YouTubing, and you have there's a topography about what your concerns are, what your opportunities are, etc. Now, do you need worry to stay attentive to that topography? If I zapped worry out of your mind, would you just be like, hey man, like, when is your next big podcast guest that's going to take you next level? You're like, fuck, fino, man. Who cares? I doubt it. As a matter of fact, when you're serene and calm and centered, you can probably see more clearly what your best path forward is. And I'll debate this to the grave. You're certainly more productive in any flow state when you're calm and serene and just doing it, moving the fucking windows around on your computer, whatever it is, the kind of work you do. So the idea that this worry and these sleepless nights somehow potentiate success, I think, is the opposite of the truth. And I really do mean the opposite of the truth. I think the most productive people in this world are the people who care. Okay, and worry is not a holdover for care. Worry is care expressed in the wrongest possible fucking way. If you give a shit, you can be calm, serene, and mega productive. If you worry, that can push you into mega productivity. But again, I don't understand. Is it worry that surfaces concerns in your corporate sphere? No, you're supposed to be attending to those concerns anyway. Worrying about something has done me zero good ever that I can ever remember. And boy, can I fucking worry. Ashkenazi superpowers activate. I can fucking eye laser worry. I can shoot a fucking jumbo jet down with worry eye lasers. Like, oh, you're just really worried about the plane and the engine catches fire. Like, holy shit, that's instant karma. So directed linear karma. It's, worry is a gigantic fuck all waste of time and life and energy. And that's not a thought. It's not like if you ask Chat GPT to worry on your behalf, it would be like, what? It can actually help you with something? You're like, well, yeah, solve some problems. And it's like, okay. So what is it? I never really do understand where worry comes from. And I'll say another thing really quick. I think the pop understanding of how productive people operate is that they worry, thus they work, thus they succeed. And in reality, it's they work, thus they succeed. And the worry, I think, honestly, comes along for the ride in at least one major way, is because a lot of people that are successful, the high IQ or whatever the fuck, just happen to be Ashkenazi Jews. And as a holdover through evolution, are also fucking worried all the time. Like, every fucking brilliant Ashkenaz that I talk to that's a fucking trillionaire or whatever, they're never like, yeah, man, thank God I worry. They're like, I fucking hate this shit. I wish I wasn't worried ever. The times in my life that I'm the most worried are the times when I'm by a long shot the least productive. And the times when I'm the most serene, I'm getting the most shit done. I'm being the most successful. I do not buy the premise that worry is a potentiator. I think it's a distractor.
We both agree, I think, about some of the limiting beliefs around victimhood mindsets. And I came up with a concept that you have identified but not yet named, I think. So this is what I've called two-step potential theory. Okay? So during an episode,
don't pin your wacky ideas on me. The racist garbage are going to spill out of your mouth.
The Jewish conspiracy here.
You see, the globalists, they have this big octopus.
Okay, so during this episode with Destiny, who's a left-leaning streamer, we were talking about the difference in the worldview of people from the left who focus on systemic problems and how they hold people back, and people from the right who focus.
But anyway, sorry, go on.
Who focus
on
know
anything about systems? Sorry,
people from the right who focus on absolute achievement and how it can be gotten there by the individual. And this is what Destiny said. He said, if I was exclusively left-focused, I'd let my restrictions define me, so I'd never bother to do anything. If I was exclusively right-focused, I'd observe how much further ahead someone else is, and I'd also give up shortly after starting. So he summarized his blending of the two worldviews together by saying, I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can because I want to be the best version of myself. I recognize that how good I can be as myself might be controlled by some environmental factors. These environmental factors provide the range that I can exist within. But within this range, my personal effort entirely determines where I exist. So I said, let's call this two-step potential theory. It's a blending of individual agency with real-world limitations because your efforts have tons of control over your outcomes within the range that your world's limitations will allow. And I think I've heard you talk about this too.
Mm-hmm. I think that's very wise. There's a lot of truth to it. Something that seems missing is what is your actual ability in that regard? How much talent do you have? Because you can achieve quite a bit of success working just a little bit if you're mega talented. And a lot of the reasons why some people do not achieve a lot of success isn't because they're working hard and is not because of environmental variables, but because they're insufficiently talented to do as well as they want it to do. So I think talent's a little bit missing from that, but if we interpolate talent into that hard work,
into the range,
is hard work plus talent or whatever, and then you're in an environmental range there, yes.
Every single morning for over 3 years now, I've started my day the exact same way, which is with Element in water. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium, and it is the best hydration drink that I've ever found. It tastes fantastic, it's super refreshing. Orange is just the most OP flavor in the world. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it helps to play a critical role in reducing muscle cramps and fatigue. It regulates your appetite, it optimizes brain health, and it helps curb cravings. They're also the exclusive hydration partner to Team USA weightlifting and relied on by tons of Olympic athletes and everyday high performers all around the world. Also, there is a no BS, no questions asked refund policy where you can buy a box completely risk-free, and if you do not like it for any reason, they will give you a refund during an unlimited duration, and you don't even need to return the box. That's how confident they are that you'll love it. Element are giving away a free sample pack of all 8 flavors with your first box if you go to the link in the description box below or drinklmnt.com/MW. That's drinklmnt.com/MW. What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full, unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe.